Hey, Dan Kidder from Sportsman's Warehouse. If you're heading out into the backcountry, whether you're just doing some backpacking, some scouting, doing some camping in the backcountry, one of the most important things that you need to worry about is water. Carrying water with you, 8.3 pounds per gallon, plus whatever the container you put it into. So taking with you enough water for several days in the backcountry is not going to be a realistic expectation. One of the ways around that is to take some means of water filtration or purification with you. One option that's out there is the MSR Guardian. This is designed for purifying a lot of water quickly. MSR calls this a purifier. Now, my definition of a purifier is a little different than MSR's. My definition of a purifier is something that will remove viruses, heavy metals, chemicals, fertilizers, that type of stuff. MSR calls this a purifier, but it does not remove any of those chemicals, antifreeze, any kind of runoff like that, heavy metals. But it does remove viruses. So it removes viruses, it removes all of your microorganisms, cryptosporidium, protozoa, that type of thing, and it also removes bacteria. So they call this a purifier, but don't expect it to be removing any of those heavy metals and chemicals. But I will tell you, this thing processes a lot of water quickly. It does 2.7 liters of water per minute. Now that's when the filter's new. As it gets older and gets more clogged up, it's going to be a little bit slower, but that's your indication that it's time to replace that filter. They also make for this a annual maintenance kit. I suggest you get that and carry it with you in the kit, because as you use this, it's going to need to have that diaphragm replaced, some of the pins replaced, some of the O-rings replaced, and you'll know when it's time to do that as you begin to use this on a regular basis. The Guardian was designed for the military. This is the civilian version of it because it's red and black and gray as opposed to green, but it was designed for the military for use in extremely austere environments, third world countries. So imagine if you're down in Haiti and you're there after the earthquake and you're doing any kind of humanitarian work down there. This would be what you'd want to take with you, because it's going to handle those viruses, and it's also going to handle, you know, the bacteria that you might run into. So you're going to be covered for anything from like E. coli, COVID, anything that could be in the water that could make you sick. This is going to handle it. Just what it won't handle is after severe flooding, there's all kinds of chemicals and heavy metals in the water, so you need to be able to take those out as well. So one thing I really like about this Guardian is as you pull the handle back, it back flushes your filter medium. This is a hollow fiber filtration medium, much like your Sawyers, your Katydins, your Life Straws. But what's unusual about this compared to some of those is if you drop a Life Straw or a Sawyer, or if you allow it to freeze, it's done. It's not going to continue to filter. This isn't bad-mouthing these companies. This is coming directly from these companies. I've spoken with the owners of Life Straw and with Sawyer, and they tell you right up front, if you drop this or it freezes, don't continue to use it. It's no longer safe. So this has been drop tested onto concrete from 20 feet. It allows it to be frozen several times. So that is a real upside to the Guardian over some of the other hollow fibers that are out there. Plus it also does viruses, which Life Straw and Sawyer do not do, and many of the Katydins do not do. Many of the MSRs do not do as well. They don't handle viruses. They're not rated for viruses. But the Guardian is a little tougher because of its being designed for the U.S. military. There's a little red knob here, and if you unscrew that and take it out, it will allow you to flush out any sediment that might get trapped in there. So it kind of gathers that sediment up and allows that to take it out. But back flushing happens with every pump of the handle. Some other things I really like about this is it uses threading for a Nalgene bottle. So you can attach it directly to a Nalgene bottle and pump straight into that bottle. And because of that, that threading is used by several other types of things, like this MSR dromedary that has a Nalgene threading on it. So you can screw that right in and fill that up and carry water with you. And you can also hook it up to a lot of different types of hydrations, like this Hydropack Cenote. You can screw that right on there, and this is 3 liters, so it'll fill this up in just over a minute. Does 2.7 liters per minute, which is really fast, and that's awesome for that. It's lightweight, it is very reliable. I've seen reviews where people have claimed that this thing will crack. I do know that if you over tighten this O-ring here, it can start to leak. So if you kind of back it off just about a quarter of a turn, that will solve that problem in most cases. Otherwise, what you need to do is use that maintenance kit that you pick up and replace those O-rings over time. They will wear out. I also like to keep them lubricated. MSR makes a grease that's water safe, it's food safe, that you can keep those O-rings properly lubricated. One other thing about this is, unlike many of the filtration systems that are out there, you want to keep this one wet. So once you get it wet, you want to make sure that it always stays wet. If you're going to store it for a long period of time, just make sure you run some water through it before and kind of periodically go in there, and that will just help keep everything lubricated and working well. I'm really impressed with this system. I love that it's got a pre-filter, a long hose. This floats in the water with the filtration down, and it also pumps water out to help flush that system on every out pump. So there's 2 different hoses here, one that takes water in, one that flushes water out. Just be very careful that you don't allow the hose that takes water out of the system to come into contact and contaminate your clean, purified water. Every so often you're going to want to test this, and the way you do that is you take a Nalgene bottle that you can see through and you push this on here, screw it on, and put that down and allow it to fill about 1/3 of the way, and then you're going to turn it upside down and you're going to plug this discharge hose and you're going to give it a few pumps, and if you see air bubbles coming up into this, then that means that it's no longer safe. You either need to do maintenance, you need to replace your filtration cartridge if those bubbles are coming up into that. If you don't see any bubbles, that means that it's filtering your water and it's safe to drink. This is a great system. It doesn't take up a lot of space, and I'm really very impressed with how well it works, and I love that it back flushes itself. Sportsman's Warehouse has a wide selection of water filtration and purification. If you're not sure what you need for your next outdoor adventure, whether it's a filter, whether it's a purifier, whether it's some kind of a chemical, talk to one of the knowledgeable associates in the camping department, and they can get you outfitted with the right product for your outdoor adventure. Sportsman's Warehouse has a wide range of products, and they also have them on their website at sportsmans.com.